Thank you for staying. Time now for the news. And in our first story, road users of the Bole-Saula-Wa highway are worried about the delay in fixing the highway. Portions of the stretch have a bituminous surface replete with pot and manholes, causing accidents and damaging parts of vehicles. Upper West correspondent Rafiq Salam reports that though government secured $150 million to fund the project, there's nothing to show for it yet.
Majority Leader in Parliament, Ose Chairman Sabonsu, at a Thanksgiving service for Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament, Alban Sumanakis for Gabin, made an emphatic statement about government's plan to rehabilitate this road.
Government has agreed and indeed secured a facility of $250 million United States dollars to construct the road from, in fact, to better put in shape the road from Bole-Saula up to Wa. It's $250 million. And I believe that in the next couple of months, you will see that the Minister for Roads and Highways will be here to do the commissioning of the project. The first part that has been secured is $150 million.
It's been exactly 60 months since the Majority Leader of Parliament, Ose Chairman Sobonsu, made the announcement on government's plan to fix the over 200 kilometers Bole-Saula-Wa highway. Since then, there have not been an inch of blade of improvement on the road. The cruel reality, however, is that the road has further deteriorated with a bituminous surface paving way for pot and manholes. One could at least count a dozen in a 20-meter stretch. What's more, some portions of the road that developed pot and manholes were screeded off for easy passage of vehicles. However, the pot and manholes have now resurfaced, so work done is equal to zero. Residents living closer to the road and commuters now bear the brunt of the dust, bumpy and deplorable road.
A little over 2 years ago, they came and scraped certain portions of the road, as you can see. We thought that as soon as they did the scraping, they were going to come to fix it and to put bitumen. Unfortunately, more than 1 year, getting to 2 years down the line, we are not seeing anything, and it's just affecting us. A journey that normally would take 30 minutes takes you 1.5 hours to complete. It's so frustrating. And for us, those using very small cars, you keep changing your parts every now and then. You hit your car, sometimes you have to go to the sprayers. It's so terrible.
From Kumasi to Wa, we are supposed to do half a day. But now for the past 3 days, I have been on this road. What is worrying us are the potholes. If you don't take time, you will hit a pothole and land in the bush.
Motorists and commercial tricycle operators are not also spared either. The deplorable nature of the road has led to several of them, in an attempt to avoid a collision with an incoming vehicle, fell off in the bush.
Most of us, in the time that you program yourself to go for programs, you end up getting there very late. Also, vehicles have been knocking down people because of the way the road is. Everybody is trying to dodge and go to the good side. And all the drivers and the pedestrians are always competing for where the good side is. And at the end, they all get involved in accidents.
The Bole-Saula-Wa highway is part of the National Highway 12, or N12, which starts at the country's border with Ivory Coast in the western region and ends at Hamili in the Upper West region. Though the Bole-Saula-Wa highway is located in the Savannah region, it is mostly used by travelers from the Upper West region and other West African countries, especially Burkina Faso. Passengers who ply the highway oftentimes are subjected to attacks from marauding armed robbers, leading to many dead and others maimed for life. They appeal to the government to fix the road to ease their frustrations and sufferings.
And sometimes armed robbers also take advantage of the situation, especially when you get to a place that you cannot speed. They will, because they know that you cannot speed, they will just get you there and rob you of your personal belongings.
Okay, so what appeal do you have for government now?
What I want to tell central government is that we are begging them this is a tourism hub for, I think, the Savannah region and also very close to the Upper West region. We want to appeal to them to try to fix our roads for us, to try to fix the roads for us.
My appeal to the government and majority leader is that at least they should faster to work on this road. It is actually an eyesore, and people are suffering here. And over 1 year now, they made a promise and nothing is happening on this road. I'm appealing to the government to expedite action so that this road can be fixed and pedestrians and passengers will pass without any accidents.
Until that happens, they will continue to inhale the dust that envelop their communities and drive on the bumpy, deplorable road in pain and at a snail's pace.
Reporting for JoyNews, Rafik Salam, Kulmaha.
Let's talk now about reading, and authorities at the Techiman Municipal Library have bemoaned the lack of books and up-to-date reading material at the facility. The library, the largest in the region, serves basic, senior high and tertiary students, but has just a few books on its shelves and only 10 desktop computers in the computer lab. The situation, according to Regional Director of the Ghana Library Authority, Charlotte Insiatabiri, does not encourage students to cultivate the habit of reading and the undertaking of research work. Here's Anas Sabit's report.
Libraries are still places where individuals gather to explore, interact, imagine, research, and most importantly, read books related to their academic calendar or for pleasure. The Techiman Municipal Library, since its establishment more than 2 decades ago, has seen little or no expansion. The facility, which is the largest in the Bono East region, has a serene environment, spacious halls, enough chairs and tables, but with more empty shelves. With many libraries today shifting away from manual to computerized systems, this library, though with enough space to accommodate more, has only 10 desktop computers. Charlotte Insiatabiri is the acting regional director of the Ghana Library Authority.
We have 10 desktop computers donated by GIFIC, and the room is big enough, I'm sure, to even can accommodate about 30 desktop computers. So when a school comes, it means either they come in tens or they pay a 2-2, and then another set will also come in.
This, according to her, sometimes leads to children who visit the library fighting over the limited computers at the facility.
As you were seeing, the children were even fighting as to who should sit first because it's not enough for them. So they will always fight for place. So when they come in, then we have to give them just 30 minutes. When we are done with the 30 minutes, we have to get up for another person to also come. But I'm sure when we have more of the computers, the children will relax, sit, and at least an hour, learn how to type using the Mavis Beacon, to paint, to use Microsoft Word, and what have you.
The absence of adequate books is also heavily affecting the authority's plans of practicing its book box services, where staff of the authority visit schools in the area to share with them books available for reading.
The status of Techiman now becoming a regional capital, I know plans are underway for us to get a regional library in future. And even as at now, if we've not gotten the static library, that's in terms of building, we need more books. And as I said, we can even practice these book box services where we go to the schools and send it to the schools. Not necessarily they all coming to the library in terms of space. And even if it comes to space, we have our gardens. If we are connected to the internet, somebody can comfortably sit in the garden and research, comfortably sit in the garden and read.
Mrs. Charlotte, however, sent a passionate appeal to philanthropists in the country and abroad to support the Techiman Municipal Library with more books and computers.
My plea to individuals, I've been also talking to citizens abroad to come and support the Techiman Municipal Library. We need more computers, we need more books. We have more space that we can accommodate that. And even if it comes where we can even use our garden to accommodate the children to have outdoor programs.
Anas Sabit, JoyNews, Techiman.
Well, after exhibiting his art across some of the world's most respected festivals and museums, Ghanaian artist Ibrahim Mahama has brought his exhibition and talent home to his native Tamale, hoping to inspire the city's next generation of citizens. Justice Baidu went to see his giant studio on the outskirts of the northern regional capital, and now reports.
Tucked away on the outskirts of Tamale, these grounded aircrafts have become a hotbed for tourists. This is Red Clay Studios. These planes have been gathered from different tarmacs and driven through hundreds of miles of roads to get here. They are part of a variety of art installations owned by celebrated Ghanaian artist Ibrahim Mahama.
When I was finishing university, I asked myself, is it possible for me to come back here to establish a studio that could, for instance, inspire younger people?
From villages nearby, children, many of them from very poor homes, come with smiles on their faces to learn about aeroplanes. One of them is 13-year-old Seidu Hadija, whose senior sister fell out of school as a teenager so she could be married off. She's in school now and with inspiration from her days at Red Clay, wants to stay and become a pilot one day.
We used to see planes flying up in the sky only. Now, we have them here, and we are happy. Because they keep taking us out of school to marry, we can't go to school. When we come here, we learn how an aeroplane works.
Well, from that aeroplane, fisheries and marine scientists at the University of Cape Coast and their counterparts across the globe have begun seeking answers to the depletion of fisheries resources of Ghana and its implications on communities that depend on the sea. The group, the One Ocean Hub Project, says adopting a social-cultural means of addressing the issues that confront the ocean and its resources might lead to the recovery of the fisheries resources. The scientists have also recommended what they call a marine spatial planning to resolve Ghana's fisheries challenges. There's more in this report.
Our stock assessment proves that somehow we have some form of overcapacity in our artisanal sector. So we are looking at the social cultural dynamics of the fisheries that can help us to deal with this problem.
Professor Joseph Agrifin, the head of the Department of the Fisheries and Aquatic Sciences at the University of Cape Coast and one of the principal investigators of the One Ocean Hub project. He speaks about why some species of fish like erefua are no more.
Really, stocks have started dwindling way back. We know of ballistic capricus, erefua. Way back in late 1980s, they vanished all of a sudden in our waters. But records and research that we have done doesn't seem to be that they were overfished, which means there are also an environmental dynamics. Probably the temperatures have been increasing since then. So not that they are no more in our waters, but they are not there in that abundant capacity that we used to see. One sure way is to do marine spatial planning, which we haven't done. It's on paper now in Ghana. We need to know what is where at what time. We know where the fishes are. Some of them, especially the demersals. Do we create fish sanctuaries? Do we create some artificial reefs that will attract fish, and then we open it from time to time to allow the fishes to fish? So all these things are things that we have done. It has been done elsewhere and it has worked.
The Deputy Director of One Ocean Hub Project, Bernadette Snow, who is with the University of Strathclyde, shared her observation when the scientists took a tour of the various landing beaches.
What you see, but when you also look a little bit deeper, you start seeing the impacts of climate change already very visible, particularly where we were. You could see they were building climate defenses, climate walls. What we also noticed were the inactivity of the fishers, particularly the artisanal fishers, because of the closed season, so the boats and that were around. It was also very interesting to note the differences of the different canoes and how different fishers or fisher groups were expressing their connections and affiliations through the artwork or the colors.
A lecturer with the Department of Music and a co-investigator of the project, Dr. Eric Debra, is convinced music could play a huge role in communicating policies of government and help gravely in ocean governance.
Of course, they express their concern a lot through the music. I don't know if you have heard of the most recent one where they are singing about the e-levy and so on, right? But usually we don't hear their voices when it comes to these things on national platforms, but through the music, and this is what I'm trying to really hype. They had a lot of songs about LGBTQIA. Who thinks about them when we talk about policy like that? So these are the things to let them know that they matter and to create the platform through art, right? So that the interaction between policymakers and scientists can be closer.
The experts say they would come up with policy briefs which will be shared with the Ministry of Fisheries for them to be factored into government policies on ocean governance, while they will also share same findings with the fisher folk. Reporting for Joy News, Richard Kwejenyako, Cape Coast.
Let's turn our gaze to Catholicism now. And a Catholic-friendly society, the Knights and Ladies of Marshall, through the Marshallans Relief and Development Services, has been planted about 10,600 species of trees at the St. Joseph Technical School in the Saboba district of the northern region. The project is part of the Marshallans Environmental Action Plan aimed at addressing issues of environmental sanitation and general climate change. Correspondent Martina Bugri now reports.
Speaking at the event, the advocacy officer of the Marshallans Relief Development Service, Samuel Zan Akulugu, said the project is a partnership with the St. Joseph Technical, offering 50 acres of land, whilst the Forestry Commission supported with seedlings and technical advice.
The effort in Saboba today facilitated by the Marshallans Relief and Development Services, MARIDES, doing this on behalf of the Noble Order of the Knights and Ladies of Marshall, is very much a partnership program. It could not have happened first without Saboba Technical School interested in this program and offering us, as you can see, this large tract of land, several acres. I understand it's spanning about 50 acres or something like that. So we have to see how much of it we can plant. So what we have done is just a little bit. 10,600 trees will only cover a small portion. We can't do this without the technical advice of the forestry. First, the Forestry Commission helped us to get the seedlings that we require. And because of the rainfall pattern this year, it had been a challenge, but thank God we have been able to get the quantity of seedlings we want. So not just giving us seedlings, but helping us with the technical backstopping of how to do it very well. So you can see, if you look at the field, you see pecks. So they have to do this proper lining, proper spacing of for the category of seedlings that we are planting, and then to do the pegging where we are going to do the planting.
Principal of the school, Maxwell Tingan, said the trees will form a buffer in protecting the school's lands from encroachment.
Saboba here, a lot of people have been engaged in cutting down trees indiscriminately, and this has affected the rain pattern. And on this our land, there is a lot of encroaches. As you can see, people have encroached the land. So we're very happy to see you people here putting the forestry, putting the plants to protect our land, not to change the rain pattern alone.
Some students of the school spoke of the benefit to them.
And this forest will help us when we are not having furniture in the school. Okay. Then come students, maybe getting to 2 or 3 years, maybe this forest will grow. When we are in need of like something like doors, furniture, construction of roofing, this furniture, the trees will help us to do that.
How I see about this afforestation, I think to benefit us a lot of things. And things like it will produce us shade and this thing. We will get a lot of this furnitures from it.
Well, that is how we wrap up the news for the morning, but do stay with us. The news review is up next right here. Well, let's get into our newspapers this morning, and we have joining us Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante, political science lecturer at the University of Ghana, together with being the director for the Center for European Studies. Doc, good morning.
Good morning, Ben.
Pleasure having you. Since we just saw snippets of that report by Samuel Kojo-Brace, my colleague, I recently had an interaction with Professor Essie Sutherland, who is the daughter of Efua Sutherland, and she was distraught about how we've left, the Efua Sutherland Park to basically become overgrown with weeds. It's a crying shame. It's a far cry from what it used to be. But what maybe are your memories of the Efua Sutherland Park, and what do you feel we can do in a situation like this?
Very, very sorry to hear children speak this way. This was a very lively place that when I was A-level student, I used to study at the George Padmore Memorial Library. So I'm very familiar with that place and the terrain, very good. Children had facilities to play with and all that. Today, it's left to rot. It gives you, a real picture as to our maintenance culture that we don't have in this country. In fact, it doesn't exist in our lexicon at all. Because how do you allow such a place to go down like that? Meanwhile, there are people who are responsible for parks, gardens, and so forth and so on. What are they doing? Are they still drawing salaries? And that nobody is their supervisor who can call them to order? Institutions are down. When you have institutions that are working, somebody will trigger a process that will make you uncomfortable if you are a duty bearer there. But it seems to me that there's nothing that we can boast of. It's a shame unto all of us that, because you see, children are very important people in our society. And if you look at their rights and privileges and all that in the Children's Act, it's a lot. When I was a student at the Ghana Institute of Journalism, I was the president for International Journalists for Children's Rights. And we fought for some of these things. I'm surprised that today we are in the places in such a sorry state. It's unfortunate. We want the leaders to up their game and bring back the life of the place.
Well, most definitely, and that will serve our children very well. But let's get into the papers now. We'll start with the Daily Graphic newspaper. Lack of funds stalls tourism projects. Ebri Gardens, Ya Santua Center's facelift in limbo. Pictured here, the Ya Santua Museum facelift, which has stalled. But let's take a quick look at that story. Redevelopment work on 3 different tourist centers in the country have delayed. This follows the delay in the release of funds to complete the 1.64 million Ghana Cedi project on schedule. The centers are the Ebri Botanical Gardens in the eastern region, and that fetches quite a bit in terms of revenue every year. There's also the Ya Asantua Museum in Ejiso and the Ya Asantua Mausoleum in Ejiso, Besianse, both in the Ashanti region. The target was to complete construction work to give a facelift to the facilities before the end of the first quarter of the year. However, Following the delay in the release of funds from the Ministry of Finance, the 5 contractors awarded contracts for the work have all abandoned the sites after completing about 27% of the projects on the average. The contractors are So Good Engineering and Construction, Grand Space Limited, Sontim Group Limited, Trafalgar Limited, and Fiscal Constructions Limited. But Doc, I have a question. Even when we attempt such projects to give a facelift to these edifices, museums and the others, which would then give us that touristic boost and maybe get more people coming to our country. Look at what happens. In the meantime, you see why some of us become plaintive, because in the meantime, we're pumping $574+ million into a national cathedral, and yet we can't even find 1.64 million Ghana cedis to give a facelift to places like this. Your thoughts on this, your reflections?
Nothing more than misplaced priority. All right. We don't put our priorities right. All right. There are things that we need to do and do them urgently. There are things that, yes, we can stagger and then hold on and do it later. All right. And we are not, as a state, we are not able to figure these things out and define them appropriately to meet our needs. Look at the places we are talking about, Buri Botanical Gardens and the other one. We have a lot of tourists going there for attraction, for studies, for just aesthetic beauty of the place. Is that what we are getting now? Why can't you develop it and then rig the necessary revenue for it? Do we need somebody to come and point this thing out to us that, look, this is the hen that lays the golden egg? I mean, time and again, we pride ourselves that, yes, we have a lot that people can come here and then, places that people can come and visit and then we can make money and all that. We always want the world to know that we have ideas that will really bring us resources to manage the affairs of the state. If that is the case, we want to see people on the ground doing something. Why are we doing such a disservice to ourselves? I mean, they need budget, and the budget must come on time so that they can put the place in shape. I think going forward, we need to be vigilant. And now, I believe that citizens also, we owe it a duty to hold, people who hold political positions, answerable to some of these things. That, look, if you don't fix these things, don't come to us for any vote. We'll vote you out. When we begin to threaten them that way, they will begin to set up. But when we leave them out, I'm afraid we are not going to have value for money. It's a sorry state that we find ourselves as far as these issues are concerned.
Well, let's talk about the depreciation of the cedi. There's that story on page 13. Cedi depreciation affecting businesses, manufacturers, traders cry out. The story is on page 13. But just to set the background to it, you know that there have been talks about whether the cedi is going to hit 10 cedis to the dollar by end of year. The inflationary rate is around 30%. The cedi has lost almost 30% of its value to the American greenback, and it goes on and on. You know about our debt situation and how now we've had to, call on the IMF. But a section of the business community has called on the government to urgently take steps to address the depreciation of the Ghana cedi against major currencies. And of course, it's not just the American greenback, it's also the Great British pound and the European euro, among other currencies. Now, those who made the call lamented the fall in the value of the local currency against major international trading currencies, particularly the dollar, saying the situation was badly affecting operations of businesses, which had also made it difficult to market their products. Speaking on behalf of manufacturers, the business development manager of steel manufacturing company B5 Plus Limited, Sandeep Saulani, said it was crucial for government to fix the cedi rate against the dollar since every business depended on it. Quoting him to wrap, "We import a majority of our raw material and now the prices have been increased by 50%. This forces us to increase our prices, which is a big challenge. We therefore expect the government to come up with a solution." The other, GUTA, the Ghana Union of Traders Association, has come out to say that, look, if we're not careful, the 10 cedi to $1 pairing that I was talking about, they could soon need 1 million Ghana cedis just to get $100,000 for trade. What does all of this mean to you?
What I see is that our people who manage the economy are not doing what we expect of them. Because, look, much as we are waiting for the IMF to come in, we need to put our house in order. There is something little that they can do while waiting for the IMF to come in with a bank, all right? So what are they doing now? Is it the case that they want IMF to come in and right these wrongs?
They say they've done that. They say they've slashed executive salaries by 30%. They've cut down on petrol or fuel supplies by 50% to those who usually get it as freebies. They say they've done quite a lot. And in fact, that is one of the reasons they say they disagree with Standard & Poor's downgrade of Ghana's economy from B- to CCC plus with a negative outlook. They say they are doing something.
Is it the case that we have inflation on our hands, which is 30%? Is it the case or is it not? All right. If it is the case, we need to do something about it, because as soon as, I'm not an economist, but as soon as you have the economic fundamentals wrong, it's going to expose you to the vagaries of other things that will undermine the economic fortunes of this country. All right. I mean, they know economics better. Once you have inflation 30%, it's not good enough. They need to do something about it. So whether they've slashed salaries of the ministers and whatnot, the stark reality is that now inflation is 30%. Our debt burden is still increasing with amazing rapidity. And we have some of the economic fundamentals still wrong. I think that they need to go back to the table, look at some of these things and double up their efforts, because before IMF comes in, and if we are not sure, we are not careful, we are going to have a lot of difficult situation on our hands, which I'm not sure the people of this country are interested in experiencing at all.
Let's wrap with just one more story from the Daily Graphic newspaper, or maybe another one. But let's take a look at this. Access Bank Ghana posts positive first half results, at least good there. Good news there. Kudos to them. But ruling on cannabis cultivation, Mental Health Authority hails decision. Let's turn to page 13 once more for that. And the Mental Health Authority has hailed the Supreme Court's ruling on cannabis cultivation in the country. What exactly have they been saying? According to the authority, it was excited about the ruling since allowing the cultivation of the substance was going to have harmful consequences on the country. Quote, "We are excited because some of us foresaw that the legalization of cannabis cultivation was going to bring untold hardship on Ghanaians. It was obviously going to bring about mental health issues, physical complications, or even cancer." The CEO of the Mental Health Authority, Dr. Kwesi Osei, told the Daily Graphic in Accra. Just to top up, so the Supreme Court on July the 27th, 2022, declared as unconstitutional a section of the Narcotics Control Commission Act 2020, that is Act 1019, which allows licenses to be granted entities to cultivate small quantities of cannabis, popularly referred to as weed in Ghana, for industrial and medicinal purposes. It was in a 4-3 majority decision by the Apex Court. But the question I would pose to you, across the world, some countries are legalizing this, whether for recreational or medicinal purposes, Doc. And some are reaping huge benefits from it by way of tax. So they are getting revenue from the cultivation and they are controlling its use. I do recall that Kofi Annan of blessed memory also spoke about this issue and how we could get some revenue from it before his demise. May his soul rest in peace. What do you think about it? Is it high time we got to the point where we allowed some level of it, but with the proper regulation to control it? Or is it because maybe since we don't have the right regulations to control it and the systems, we should just let it go for now?
You see, it has all the benefits that one can talk about, but there are problems associated with it. It's like having nuclear. People say, let the country go nuclear. How to maintain, how to handle it is the difficulty. If we don't have that infrastructure in place to take care of some of these challenges, then it becomes a difficulty. All right. I believe that they need to put together the stakeholders, i.e., the mental health authority specialist, and then those in that industry to come together in a roundtable form, discuss this thing thoroughly so that the nation can, take a decision on that. But that knee-jerk reaction or decision that I quickly want to, allow these things in a wholesale that everybody can go into that production is going to create a problem, because we have seen mental health issues in this country. We have not been able to handle them, and want to compound them. I agree with the Supreme Court strongly that they came out with this ruling that was starting the test of time. It's good that, yes, we need to go back to the drawing board. If indeed there is something beneficial from it that we want to tap, there is a need to get the stakeholders together and then discuss it and take very important, rational decision.
Let's get into the Ghanaian Times newspaper now. 2 million euro COVID-19 vaccination uptake campaign launched. 4 foreigners jailed for human trafficking. That story on page 3. And then community-wide power cut in Yellow Manyakrobo. This is a very disturbing story. Corpses decompose in mortuaries. That's a question, though. It's a question. But from what we've been hearing so far, people have complained about going to hospital. Someone was complaining about, I think, his brother or brother-in-law. They took the person to hospital, one hospital, the next, no power. He couldn't be attended to. By the time they got to the next hospital, he had lost his soul. He had passed, basically, or he had passed on to glory. Similar incidents. Now, corpses are also said to be decomposing in these mortuaries. Let me just bring you snippets of that story on page 15. And I guess this will be the main one that I would have you share your thoughts on, Doc. So, corpses stored in mortuaries in the Yellow and Manyakrobo municipalities in the eastern region are decomposing due to the community-wide power cut. Consequently, mortuary operators are asking families in the 2 municipalities to come for the remains of their loved ones to prevent the bodies from further decomposition and posing health hazards to the general public. A concerned resident, Edmund Abwaji, who raised the alarm in an interview with journalists, said about 5 families had received incessant calls from mortuary attendants to retrieve their bodies because they were decomposing at the facility. Now, speaking in an interview on Joy FM's Midday News on Tuesday, which is yesterday, Madam Ofe explained that the hospitals in the affected municipalities were compelled to rely on generators to provide health services. As she stated that hospitals in the municipality without power spend between 3,000 and 5,000 Ghana cedis to provide emergency services, theater services, admissions, keeping blood vaccination, and keeping refrigerators running. In simple terms, Doc, this is chaotic. It's shambolic, and it's happening right under our noses. But just to give you a fair picture, what is not captured here? The ECG has also been speaking to the issue, and it says, look, it is not our will for this to happen, but there have been challenges, and we know about the prepaid meters and the tussles between the ECG and its task force and the community members. But should an entire community be victimized? Some of them, they were disconnected, they reconnected, even from, I think, the main power source. They were disconnected, they went and reconnected and all of that. And some ECG workers were assaulted. But when you look at what has happened versus what is happening, corpses decomposing, you know how we treat our dead bodies, how we reverence the dead as well. People losing their lives because they go to hospital and there's no light. Hospitals having to spend about 5,000 cedis a day and all of that. Not to talk of the economic downturn, people with cold stores and the rest, everything rotting away. Doc, I don't know what you make of this, but it really is sad.
It is unfortunate we find ourselves in this situation. There are 2 sides to this story. If you hear the ECG story, it's a good one. Why is it that some people are not ready to pay for the energy that they consume, and for which reason they want to, if they are disconnected, they want to connect themselves? That's unfortunate. Nobody does that in this country, that you pay for what you consume. How can ECG sustain themselves if we are not ready to pay? And more so when they send people to go and take lawful duties, then people attack them. What do you expect them to do? And I mean, we want to save our employees and save the business that we do. Much as we want to protect or supply energy to the community, we want to also what? Maintain business. The business must keep going. And here you are, people attacking them and all that. This brings to mind the issue of, responsibility, that we need to be responsible for some of the things that we do. It is unfortunate we are here because the other bit is that there are people who have also paid, they honor their bills regularly and all that, and we have lumped all of them together and they are atoning for the sins of those who have really...
And that is the problem. That is the problem.
That's the problem. But I believe that the ECD should be able to figure those people out and then, if possible, give them energy. But those who don't want to pay, I believe that they are not entitled to energy at all. Otherwise, you open the floodgate for people to say that they have the courage to say that we want to enjoy electricity, we don't want to pay. And that people who want to also attack people who do lawful duty, I don't understand that. The police must, zoom on them and then, crack the whip. I don't get it because this is a country of laws. We cannot do things arbitrarily. There are rules of the game that if you are dissatisfied with an action of a government or agency of anybody within the state, you have the right to go to court and seek redress. But you don't take the law into your own hands and then you send us to the state of nature. That's unfortunate. So the situation as we find ourselves in there, it's a very difficult one. But the question is, now who calls up? Now who calls up?
Now, who calls them? Just to give you the headlines and other stories, Queen Mother of Shreso in court for allegedly defrauding by false pretense. We see a lot of our traditional leaders nowadays involved in all kinds of things. It appears the institution seems to be losing some moral high ground. Task force pulls down brothels at Wasam in Fee West. And of course, when I say the institution, I'm not saying generally, but you keep hearing these stories and it means there's a problem in our chieftaincy and traditional institutions that needs remedying. 4 foreigners jailed for human trafficking. 4 Nigerians were last week sentenced to jail terms ranging between 5 and 7 years for engaging in human trafficking. That's it with the Ghanaian Times newspaper. Let's get into the Daily Guide newspaper now. Nana inspects 9.2 million Ghana cedi 1D1F factory in Bimbala. Of course, that is Nana Akufo-Addo, the president. There's also teacher sodomizes 18 students in Salaga, jailed 7 years. A circuit court in Tamale sentenced him to 7 years. He had been sodomizing these students. Really sad development there because the law is clear on such actions or habits. 3 arrested over TK-SHS students' death. And Mahama slams government over economic downgrade. There's also Dr. Anya adjudged Africa's most respected CEO. And that's quite a feat. Let's get into that story. Maybe you can tell me what your thoughts are on this feat, Dr. Anya being adjudged Africa's most respected CEO, and then the bit about the sodomization of 18 students. But let me get to that story on page 8. So very quickly, Chief Executive Officer and Executive Chairman of the Holy Trinity Spa and Health Farm, we all know them, don't we? Dr. Felix Kwekwe-Anya has once again made Ghana proud by being conferred with Africa's Most Respected CEO award. Dr. Anya received the award at an event dubbed African Giants held recently in Mauritius. The event was hosted by the business executive in collaboration with the Economic Development Board in Mauritius. Just a bit of a background, yeah? Over 10 years after its establishment, the Holy Trinity Spa and Health Farm is still the only medical spa in Ghana and accredited by the Ministry of Health. It's located along the Volta River at Sogakope, which was also conferred with an award as Africa's Best Destination Spa for Wellness Conference. So we salute Dr. Anya for this feat. And of course, he's done us all proud. But your quick reflection on this feat, of course, a good one there, a feather in our cap. And then this bit about sodomy. Doc.
Yeah, I'll start with Dr. Anya. Kudos to the doctor for a good work done, making this country proud and all of us proud. This is the people that we want to celebrate. More often than not, you don't hear some of these stories, negative, but positive stories that has been brought to light by this. I commend the newspaper. I commend Dr. Anya for a good work done. We wish him well and want him to continue to take the country to higher heights in terms of achievement and all that. And that this will serve as a learning curve for all of us, so that when you serve your country and you serve it well, there are people who are watching. You'll be recognized, and one day you'll be praised like Dr. Aga. We are happy, and then we wish him the very best. Come to sodomy of school children is very, very unfortunate. Teachers must know that when children are in their schools and all that, they owe them a duty of care. You take care of them, and then you don't do what the laws do not require you to do. I believe that, GS and all those academic, stakeholders must look at constant education with regards to the rules of the game. Teachers must know the bounds that they cannot cross, and so must students also be apprised with information that these are the barriers you cannot cross. Once you get the two educated along these lines, all things being equal, we are going to save some of this situation. But we should know that whoever crosses any line, the sanction regime must be kicked in to address the situation, so that people will not look at it as if that there are no rules governing what we do. There are rules, and that when you cross the line, you should have your fingers bent.
Doc, there's one major story I'd like you to react to, but I'll just look at some headlines before getting to that, and then you can react to that one story. The Daily Statesman has a number of stories we've already looked at, but it also says Ghana's feat at Commonwealth Games lauded. NSS extends PIN code registration deadline to August the 22nd. Then there is the Finder newspaper, which says special financing instruments needed to grow oil palm sector in West Africa. That's according to Jimfi, the custodian. 1 year on, NLA touts successes under Sami Ewuku. But what I want you to react to, Republic Press. Mahama renews attacks on government as he proffers solutions to economic woes, but Akufo-Addo remains resolute in spite of S&P downgrade. We've all heard the reaction of government. You've shared some thoughts on the CD, but the stance right now, even targeting the S&P, Standard & Poor's, that they are not being fair to us. When it goes our way, we receive it. And we applaud it. When it doesn't go our way, we criticize it. What's your quick thinking on that in some 30 seconds?
I think we must be honest to say that here we have not done well, and that we take whatever assessment that comes with it. All right. Once we do that, we are able to receive a lot of good counsel, and it shapes our focus and direction. Anytime we have such positive report, see the way we glorify that, we jump at that and all that. It is in the same spirit that we want us to I want people to take in their strides stories or reports that are not in their interest and work at it. That is the way to go. As you are in government, it is not always the case that you get things right. But when you get things wrong, you must be in a position to admit that here I went wrong and that I'm ready to be tutored and then chart a new path. That is the way to go. Let us remember that we don't run our own businesses. We run businesses on behalf of the state. And there are people whose duty it is to look at this, access them from time to time and tell us. We must be grateful to them. Because these things, if you tax people to do, you need to pay money for it. This is free of charge. Take it, work at it, and then improve the lives of people.
Right.
That's all.
I have to sneak in this one. CDD wades into no Ghana card, no vote debate, vows to block EC. Just give me some 10 seconds on this. What do you think about this entire debate? Ghana card, no votes. The CDD is vowing to block the EC.
I disagree with the EC vehemently on that score. All right. And I share the view with CDD and then Dr. Freja. Then look, let us have other documents that will really allow people to have their franchise exercised. That's all. Democracy that is targeted at eliminating people from the franchise system. It degenerates into mobocracy, mob rule. That is not what we are looking for. We are looking for a democracy that will stand the test of time, that people will have the right to express themselves as to who leads their country and we should not put anything in their way. Any effort at that, I will join those forces and go to court and seek redress against that type of ugly proposal, which doesn't bode well for democracy of this country. I disagree with that vehemently.
Doc, on that note, we sew it up. But thank you so much for joining us for this conversation. Always refreshing having you. We wish you the best, sir.
I'm grateful. I'm grateful.
Right. And that is Dr. Kwame Asasanti, political scientist, director for the Center for European Studies. Well, up next, we move from all the intellectual talk and talk about intellectual sports. Sports up next.
It is a special morning here on the AM Sports with me, Muftau Nabila Abla. The FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup is upon us. Colombia and Germany will open the campaign tonight. Ghana's Black Princesses start their quest to qualify beyond the group stages for the first time in history on Thursday when they come up against familiar foes USA. President of the Ghana Football Association, Kurt Okreko, believes they have got the quality to reach the next stage of the tournament. Chief of Staff Freeman Opari has also tasked the ladies to play as a unit to achieve glory for Ghana. Let's cross over to the Kotoka International Airport, where my colleague Nathaniel Arthur is standing by to speak to the advance party of Ghana contingents that went to the Commonwealth Games. He's currently the head coach of the team who won 3 medals in this championship, Coach Ofori Asare. We go over to the airport right now.
On the African continent, but at the World Championships and also at the Commonwealth Games and the Olympics. Coach, congratulations are in order. Congratulations once again.
Thank you, thank you.
Good to see you. You look a little tired, jet lag there. Were you able to sleep a bit?
Well, it's a difficult task, and I work very hard, so you could see it right from my face.
Yeah,
but we did very well, and I think I did it together with a whole lot of assistant coaches.
Guys, come and join us. Please join us.
Those who we didn't, even though we didn't go with them, but they did marvelously well at the time when we were preparing. You know, the time we started the preparation, our determination is the most important. It's what has taken over the whole thing. Because when you compare our preparation to other countries' preparation, when you compare, then you see that it is our determination that yield the results for us. So first and foremost, I will thank even all the coaches from the club level, all those coaches who we were able to get select their boxes into the national team, and those also who normally most of the times come there to ginger the boxes, for us to have full control over them. I thank all of them. The achievement is for all of us. And I believe that if we continue doing that, we can achieve more and more.
Wow, interesting stuff there. So, quick thoughts from you as well, Coach Latekwe Latte. Now, Coach Latekwe Latte has been working alongside Coach Ofori Asare and the rest of the team for quite a number of years now. And you do know him. He's not too far away from the multimedia complex. His gym is there in Kokomlimle, the Fifth Square, which is not too far away from the multimedia complex. Coach, congratulations.
Thank you, thank you.
Look, you've been working alongside Coach Asare for many years now. What has been doing the trick for the two of you in this relationship? He is the senior most here in Ghana. Yeah. What's been doing the trick for the two of you in terms of growing that relationship in camp all the time?
The relationship is very great. You know, we are, if I can say a lot, we have tried. We have been grooming these boys from generation to generation. We have suffered a lot. I can't say much. You know, we need to, you know, compensation or something like that, because we have tried. Okay. If we can't say it, we want everybody to, you know, to do something about it, because we have suffered.
Great.
Yes,
great.
we have.
So there are major conversations that we'll be having on this network and all of our networks in reviewing, the Commonwealth Games. But I've also noticed, the president of the Ghana Boxing Authority, he just arrived here. All right, so there it is. Greetings going on, and that's how we do, here in Accra. Traditionally, that's what we normally do. So Abraham Kotai-Nikwe is the president of the professional ranks, the Ghana Boxing Authority. He just arrived here, has a very broad smile as usual. Congratulations to you, President, even though this was not directly under your ambit.
Well, I'm the father of the house. Yes, I am happy. I can see my coaches here. They've done so much well. He took the year to UK, and then he make us proud. So today is the day for boxing, and we are all here to celebrate our champions.
Wow,
yeah.
Interesting stuff there. We've started the advocacy already. We probably should have had better preparation, and that goes to tell us that if we had prepared better, we probably would have had, better in terms of our medals, would have done better on the medal table as well. What would you say regarding how we support as a nation and what we've been doing, to support boxing as a sport, which continues to prove that is the nation's most successful on the international scene?
Well, now we've proven ourselves. Out of the 60 medals that we have from the Commonwealth, boxing alone have pulled out 36 out of it. We've proven ourselves that the government 35 with one. Yeah. So the government now have to look at us. If we say we are number one discipline, this shows that we are number one discipline. We have 3 medals, and the other disciplines have 1, 2 silver and 1 bronze. Techi also did it when it comes to the professional level, 10 world titles. We can boast of a lot of things. We've taken Ghana to the map. We are pleading to the government. We are pleading to the ministry to look at us. We need support. You see, the preparation of the boys, you and me and other people will know that we did not prepare at all in terms of camping, in terms of taking good care of the boys. The unfortunate incident that happened, that we have Jaguar getting sick. If doctors are around with us doing our camping, or even
by Jaguar, you're talking about Joseph Kome.
Yeah, Joseph Kome. Yeah. We could have, Joseph Kome promised me that he's bringing the goat, and he will bring the goat. So we plead. We are going to tell the government he should look at us. They should give us little of what they give to football, because all the time boxing make Ghana proud.
Great,
yes.
great stuff there. So you just heard from the president of the Ghana Boxing Authority, Abraham Kotai-Nikwe, who is here to offer his support to the medal-winning side of the Black Bombers, who are arriving in a few moments here at this venue, at the arrival area of the Kotoka International Airport. So there's more to discuss. Like I mentioned, these are continuous conversations we're going to be having, and so we'll come back to you in the studio now as we bring you continuous coverage of the arrival of the national amateur boxing team, who have brought us 3 out of the 5 medals that were won at Birmingham at the recently ended Commonwealth Games.
To the Ghana Premier League now, and Tamale City, they secured qualification to the top flight division after a 1-1 stalemate against the Besuan Dwarfs in the Ghana Football Association 3-team playoff. Well, head coach of the team, Hamza Mohammed, is confident his boys are good enough to compete at the top level, and he says that they must improve their performance so that they can meet the standard required to compete in the Ghana Premier League. There's more in this report.
After falling short in their attempts to achieve a long-lived dream of attaining a Premier League status, Tamale City heaved a sigh of relief at the second time of asking as they pipped Dwarfs and favourites Liberty Professionals to next season's final Premier League slots. However, celebrations will be short-lived as the club realizes the magnitude of a challenge that exists in the top flight. Head coach Hamza Mohammed wants the team to improve to meet the standard required in the Premier League.
The character of our team is what? When you want to go to the Premiership, you shouldn't play like the Division 1. That's what we are talking about. So definitely have to improve upon what we are doing, ensure definitely. It's going to be difficult, but to expect us to maintain in the Premiership and then plan ahead in the subsequent the Premiership matches.
For most newly promoted clubs and even the more established brands, finances to run on a daily and match-day basis has always been one of the biggest headaches. The GFA's joint unveiling with BetPower, new headline sponsor of the league, will definitely reduce the plight of many a club. But besides the part of the $2 million Tamale City will receive, there's a belief there will be due other forms of income to stage a fruitful campaign.
Definitely it's a problem, but we have people who have pledged that if we get to the Premiership, they will help. We know very well that Division 1 is not the same as Premiership, and we know definitely sponsorship to have come in. We'll use it and then make sure that we get some partners to help the team.
The BetPower Premier League will kick off on the week of September 9, 2022.
And as Tamale City competes in the Ghana Premier League, Asante Kotoko and Hearts of Oak, they will also be in Africa for the CAF Champions League and the CAF Confederation Cup, respectively. The draw was done on a Tuesday. Asante Kotoko will play Kadigo of Burkina Faso, while Hearts of Oak will play either the winner of the match between AS Douanes or AS Bamako. And we understand that these two teams, because Ghana do not have a fit-for-purpose sports stadium, they are likely to be playing their matches at the Cape Coast Sports Stadium because it is the only approved venue on the CAF list. Asante Kotoko had submitted Baba Yara Sports Stadium, and unfortunately, we understand that GFA did not submit it to CAF for onward approval. Sources had said that CAF probably could have allowed Kotoko to use the Baba Yara Sports Stadium for a preliminary round before they come in to do further work on the facility or checks on the facility to see whether it can hold the group stages, but that was not done. So it means Kotoko must play their matches at the Cape Coast Sports Stadium. Hearts of Oak must also play their matches at the Cape Coast Sports Stadium, as the Accra Sports Stadium is deemed not fit for purpose to host CAF competitions. This is how we wrap up AM Sports here with me, Muftar Nabila Abdullahi.
How's it? That's hello. Welcome back on the AM show. How about treating your family to a summer holiday in South Africa? Come journey to South Africa for a good time in our beautiful country. Get to know the locals and our languages. And if you're looking to let your hair down and relax, or you're just in the mood for some fun, family-friendly adventures, South Africa has got everything you need. This summer, Wazanila, come this side and experience a holiday worth talking about. It's all about getting to South Africa. But hello Ghana, happy moment is here again. Let's storm World Cup Qatar 2022 with Storm Energy Drink, Puma Soft Drinks and Awake Drinking Water from Casapreco Company Limited. Simply buy your favorite Storm Energy Drink, Puma Soft Drinks and Awake Drinking Water. Text the 4-digit unique number on the neck of the bottle to short code *780#. Choose option 2 and follow the prompts on all networks for free. Be one of the lucky winners to this year's World Cup in the monthly draw. You can also win TVs, fridges, microwave ovens, mobile phones, home theaters, free drinks, and more instantly. So don't waste time. Grab a bottle of Storm Energy Drink, Puma Soft Drinks, and Awake Drinking Water, and let's storm Qatar this World Cup. This promotion is on the NLA Caritas platform, and this advert is FDA approved. Remember, terms and conditions apply. Now we get into what we're serving you next on the AM show. She left the child for her husband after he was diagnosed with cerebral palsy. And for 2 years, the single father has been battling poverty and stigma while taking care of his son. Emmanuel Jivenu traveled to their home at Mafi, Adidome in the central Tong district of the Volta region, and now reports.
4 years ago, the cry of a newborn baby brought Martin and his wife immense joy. They could not contain the joy of being first-time parents. But that excitement ebbed away a year on. Their bundle of joy could not function properly.
He can't stand on his own, sit or catch up, not talking. The neck falls and goes back like that, unless we have to support him. He was diagnosed of cerebral palsy. Yeah, so as he's growing after 2 years, he's not responding. Though he understands when you talk, I feel like performing the action, but realize all the muscles, everything, they are weak. He can't stand on his own, sit down, do anything. Even the talking wasn't coming. So I took him back to the hospital for a proper checkup. So that is where he was diagnosed that no, it's a cerebral palsy.
Despite having little knowledge of cerebral palsy, Martin was troubled by the news and worried about how to care for his son. He recounts how everything took a downward turn and eventually his wife abandoned him and the child. His wife's family claimed he had jinxed his own son.
The family of the mother were giving the pressure to her that what a baby she has given birth to and the baby can't respond to anything like that. So he should find a way of leaving the child. So they claimed myself and my family bewitched the boy. That is why the boy is like that. So they've given her pressure, a lot of pressure. So she have to leave the child and go. That is 2 years. So after that I have to take over because myself, I don't have a family. My mom is not alive, who can take care of him for me. So I took up the responsibility myself as a mother, at the same time as a father. So I do everything a woman does to take care of the baby. That is what I do. In the section of only not breastfeeding, that is but whatever a woman does to take care of the baby, I do all these things myself. And at the same time, playing the role of a father. When I wake up, the normal duties, household duties I have to perform. When you also wake up, then I have to take him out, bath him. After bathing, I massage a bit, then I feed him. So after feeding, I have to come out with him or be inside the room, we watch TV small, I play with him a bit before I can come back to the kitchen or maybe watch his clothes, and then I take a rest a bit.
According to Martin, his son, whom he named Martins Jr., was not born with cerebral palsy, but that the symptoms were detected soon after his first birthday. Martins Jr. is 4 years old now. He has a slack neck and stiff muscles, which make movement difficult. He can barely do anything for himself. Martin, worried about his son's condition, sought remedies from several health facilities and even tried herbalists, but all to no avail. Taking care of children with cerebral palsy can be overwhelming. It is virtually a 24-hour job. Martins Jr. needs a lot of attention at home. He also needs to visit the hospital for medical checkup, as well as physiotherapy. Martin says, as a single father, although he feels blessed to have a child, the boy has also put a heavy burden on him.
It's really tough, getting the money to buy, taking care of him, the medicines alone. Talk less of buying diaper and this food. Yes, it's really a hell for me. Back then, I have some small money that I've saved. That is what I was using, going up and down to the hospital for physio, because every week I have to go for physiotherapy. That was the money I was using. But later on, as it got finished, to have to depend on friends, asking them they should give me money to take care of the boy.
A good social welfare system could support him to give his son the best care. Unfortunately, he's also burdened with ridicule and stigma from his community.
They've given me back names. They call me Kangaroo because I always carry him in front of me in a carrier. Though it really hurts me, it disturbs me because psychologically, emotionally, I'm traumatized. Yes. So a lot of things come into my mind. I can't bear it alone. It's just too much for me. It's just too much for me. Because when I sit, sometimes I feel like, let me also leave him and go. Yeah. Let me also leave him and go because it's just too much. Taking care of him is just too much.
But Martin's love for his son overrides the public mockery and rejection. He admits that it's not easy to keep prying eyes away from his life and to drown his mystery. Martin has chosen to stay indoors with his son, listening to music. Martin is a trained teacher from the University of Education, Winneba. He had to quit all jobs to be close to the son. His only source of income is this motorbike his friend gave him. To put food on the table for his son daily, Martin leaves his son indoors for some hours so that he can ride the bike and make some money.
Though for security reasons, I don't lock him up. I open the door down. Yeah, with the sense that maybe something might be happening to him in the room, then anybody passing by can rescue him as I'm out of the house. Yes, so I don't lock him inside the room. No. Let me wake and come, okay? What TV, Len? Okay? Len, I beg, I'm coming, okay? When I'm coming, I'll buy you something nice, okay? I'll buy you yogurt. Behave yourself, okay? Let me wake and come. Follow.
The thought of his child all alone troubles him anytime he rides away. Due to this, Martin refuses long-distance rides.
If I go out with a motorbike, it's not anything I get. If I get the maximum money I get is maybe 30 cedis for it. And from that 30 cedis, I'm going to buy his food, buy petrol from it again so that I can maintain the machine and go back to the next time So it's something that I feel that I'm being wicked to myself. Yes, in doing all this. Yes, because nobody seems to care for us.
The cause of cerebral palsy is unknown, but genetic abnormalities, congenital brain, maternal infections, and fetal injuries are associated with the condition. Although there are no official statistics on the number of children with the disorder, Cerebral Palsy Africa estimates that 1 child in every 300 births has the condition in Ghana. Martin has a wish that will ease the burden of raising his son alone.
My wish is to get a computer shop that I can be doing printing, photocopy, typing, and the rest. Then also train students who have finished school and want to learn IT. Those who have finished from GSS, SS, yes, and anybody in the society or the community who want to learn or know about IT, computer, because I believe these days everything now is IT, yes, computing. So that is my wish now. Then whatever I get, the money I get from there, I wish to support Hillary.
But for now, Martin continues to shower his son with love, hoping life smiles at them one day. Emmanuel Juvenis reports for Joy Prime.
Touching story there, but thank you for staying with us on the AM show.